Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to what probably might be the last time forever. So, for those who don't know, what I'm planning to do is that on Christmas Day of this year, I plan on releasing something quite special, but something that I feel like is also going to be the definitive place in which we say goodbye to an old friend of ours. Because if anyone who knows anything about how I first started making videos on YouTube, Metallica was the very beginning. It was where I started doing all this. It's what made me the metalhead that I am today. And what I plan on to do on Christmas Day is release what I'm going to call every single Metallica song ranked from worst to best. And I think it just about speaks for itself. But before we do battle, and that video is going to be a huge undertaking, we have a little bit of a task to perform today. Because what we're going to do, there's like in 2 months from May, possibly October time as well, we're going to pretty much do every single Metallica song that they've ever done. However, the only modicum of things we need to establish in all of this is that when I say every single Metallica song, we're talking about every one that they've done. So thankfully, Lulu is not going to be included. And that also goes for any covers that Metallica... Well, any covers that other bands have done on Metallica will not be included. However, what we are going to include is the Beyond Magnetic LP, which is, for those who don't know, it's kind of like a DLC version of the album Death Magnetic, in which it contains 4 songs on it, and they certainly fall in line with Death Magnetic's theming and style, so we're pretty much just going to talk about that as well. I should also mention is that, well, to make this proper, we're going to go all the way back to the very beginning. So, whilst again, maybe Easy Street would possibly be considered the very beginning, no, we're technically going to go with the release date for Kill 'Em All, July 25th, 1983. 43 years ago. And already we start off on a bit of an interesting footing, because Metallica in the very beginning is probably not quite the monster we know them today. If anything, because bear in mind, these guys were not even in their 20s at this point. They were about 18 at the very most, and they were already killing it. But mind you, with that being said, a lot of this also goes into reference about Dave Mustaine's short but incredibly potent tenure with Metallica. Now, whilst we know that I think Dave and James have buried the hatchet much further down the road, we're not really here to talk about that. Because believe you me, maybe next year we'll do an entire an entire Megadeth compendium. Because, well, sort of, why exactly am I doing this? Because I feel like there's something that... And listen, I've been having so much fun doing this for nearly 8 years. But I also feel like it's not so much it's time to move on, but it's time to just sort of, well, finish things that were already started but left unfinished. So we are, well, taking care of business, so to speak. And nowhere is there a better place to start than, well, the very beginning. Now, whilst technically, because one thing you're also going to be seeing throughout these videos is that I will put up down below a sort of Top of the Pops inspired trivia about notes about each song and a little bit of history about the band as we go through this discography odyssey, discography, if you will. And, well, I think there's not much else to say apart from that. But if there is one thing I want to say about Hit the Lights, just to begin with, I think the placement of this as the very first song that you hear when you stick in your cassette on your Walkmans, I think this is absolutely the best place to start. Because insofar as I'm concerned, it is it is like Mozart or Beethoven if it was metal. And why do I say that? Well, join me, my friends, for the very beginning. Because we are about to go on a little journey. And strap yourselves in, guys, because this is going to be a long but a very wild ride. So, let's hit the lights. I will never down again. And Different Beasts, you know what? You know I was not joking because, oh yeah. Though what I also will say is that, for those, again, unfamiliar with kind of just how Metallica kind of really started, Yeah, it was because whilst I don't think Metallica were like they founded thrash metal as we know it, I think it is fair to say that they kind of they didn't give birth to it. They strapped dynamite onto the back of it and blew it up because it's hard to imagine, especially when it comes to stuff like this. About probably also you can imagine the sort of venues that were played when they did stuff like this. Maybe derelict buildings somewhere in the middle of Old Town California, and these guys just, well, they were going to knock it down the next day. Why not just save them the trouble? But again, if anyone could tell me about if they were ever like at like an early Metallica show and what exactly the atmosphere is like, because I can't imagine this is the sort of thing that you'll be walking away completely intact. I'd imagine you would be bruised, you might lose a tooth, but you wouldn't care because you had just about the time of your life. And I think it's less to do about deeper meaning. At least some of the songs on Metallica's Kill 'Em All do, and I think it's more about the atmosphere. It's about the aggression. It is about, quite frankly, going batshit insane. I think that is sort of what it's more about, especially in Metallica's early stuff. And whilst, again, that might seem a little bit of an over simplification of stuff like this, however, it must be said, it works. But then again, considering what comes immediately after Kill 'Em All, it's surprising that even in their early stages that they were already trying, maybe due to pressure from their label, Megaforce, that they kind of needed to like move away into other sort of domains and stuff like that. But yeah, but maybe that was the case, or maybe it was just something that the guys always wanted to do. So remember, you can't get mad at Load and Reload, get mad at Bob Rock for stuff like that. But then again, even in the very beginning, they were already trying to change things up and trying to find their footing. And also, you could also see where Dave's blueprints have sort of been all over stuff like this. But with all that being said and done, like I mentioned at the very beginning, one down, 116 songs left to go. And for what they're worth, in terms of placement, where exactly would I place Hit the Lights if we really were to like just drop all pretenses and did our worst to best list right now? In the recesses of my mind, let's put Hit the Lights maybe at something like maybe like 21st or 2nd, because I'm not too sure if it's top 20 material. But then again, there's plenty more coming, and what we've got coming next is possibly a contender for top 10, but we'll have to wait and see. But in the meantime, I'll see all of you guys again next time. Thank you.